I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with the feeder flash for Wednesday, October the 16th, brought to you in part by Specialty Risk Insurance. Specialty Risk is a one-stop shop for all your crop and livestock insurance needs, including educating you on how LRPs can work in your operation. For more information, go to specialtyrisk.ag. The board rocks and boxes roll. We had the hardest day on the board that we've had in almost 6 weeks. Both live cattle and feeder cattle down really hard. We've kind of been waiting on that. You know, if you've been listening to me, of course, if you've just been watching it, you know that the board has been more friendly than typical, and we just kept wondering why. I mean, nothing really warranted it. We've got our fat cattle market has been going up, but a lot of that has been due to support from your board. We got big runs of calves, most of them balling, coming to your sales. That's kind of been pressuring some of your calves in the lower part of the United States, but not up in the northern parts where the fancy ranch calves are coming, even though most of them are ballers too, but they've been selling really well. Our slaughter has been extremely light, and that is what has caused our box beef cutout values to go up, and they went up a bunch on Tuesday, and it's in due to your tight slaughter and the holiday demand that continues to spark these wholesale beef prices. But we've got fall weather prevailing everywhere. Getting cool at nights. It's extremely dry, and those dry conditions persist in the western 2/3 of the United States. This dry land, hard red winter wheat needs a drink here if we're going to be turning cattle out here in less than a month to graze, because you know, some of it's up, but just barely, and we got to get it up. Of course, the irrigated wheat is up, and those that grew their own are going to be turning cattle out on it. But if it's just primarily a farmer, they probably won't allow any grazing on most of that irrigated wheat. But you know, a lot of calves moving, lots of calves moving, huge runs of calves, and like I said, most of them are unweaned. A lot of them are high in quality. That helps a little, but you know, a fancy dead calf is no better than a plain dead calf, and neither one of them are going to make you any money. But we're starting to see a little bit of resistance to these bigger balling calves weighing from 5.5 to 700 pounds, and the market's starting to back off just a little bit on those. They're still wanting the peewees. Lots more options on those lighter calves. And so we haven't seen the price start to back up on those yet. But you know, a lot of places that take calves in, preconditioned yards and outfits like that, they're getting backed up with them, and having a lot of sickness problems due to the dust and the hot days and the cool nights and everything that goes with the fall. But you'd think, as many as there is coming through these sale barns, there's a lot of cattle that are being delivered from the video sales that happened months ago, and they're delivering those, and most of those calves are all ballers too. So you know, it's worse than just what you see in your sale barns. There's lots and lots of calves that are hitting new addresses with separation anxiety and those dry, dusty conditions in those sales. You guys want to get some therapies and use that. That'll help some, but they're starting to see some cooler weather, especially at night, on those flood victims over there in North Carolina and eastern Tennessee and places like that. And I tell you what, when you got no power, still lots of places with no power, still lacking just general necessities. And I saw over the weekend there's still nearly 100 people just in the North Carolina area of those worst conditions that are missing. That's got to be so miserable. Just, I'm sure those people feel like they're living in a third world country because they just haven't gotten the help that they need, and in the remote conditions that they lived in just made it that much harder to get help in there. But we're still praying for those people. Let's talk about your board on Tuesday. October live cattle futures down $1.52 at 186.72. December was down $1.40 at 186.52. And your back months were all down from 45 cents to $1.30 lower. October feeder cattle down 260 at 246.52, and this is the first time in a couple weeks that spot October feeder cattle futures contract is well under our cash index levels, at least $2 lower than that. November feeder cattle down 310 at 246.47, and then your back months on feeder cattle were all down hard, down 297 to 337. That's significant. If you guys wanted an LRP on some feeder cattle, if you were going to have calves you're going to turn out, you probably should have already done that because you've lost all that ground now. But look at your grains. December corn down 7 cents at 401 1/4. November beans down 5 cents a bushel at 9.91. Hard red winter wheat for December down 7 cents at 5.83. Your fat cattle trade brought to you by Legacy Beef Cooperative there, and that's hooked in with the new plant being constructed near Council Grove, or Council Bluffs, Iowa, excuse me. But you can be a part of that if you want to. Join the co-op, guys. How about your fat cattle trade? Haven't seen anything on a direct basis. Of course, it's still early in the week. Did see a load in Iowa on Tuesday at 296. We saw some cattle that sold dressed in Nebraska late on Monday, about 450 head at 296. That would be steady. Of course, I haven't seen any trade at all in Kansas and Texas. We do have your market maker, Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. Our friend Gary Marks has been on a calf sale tour all over South Dakota and Nebraska and everywhere. He really enjoys going to those sales and seeing those best consignments of cattle sell. So he was not in Yankton on Tuesday. I got a hold of Greg Reichen there fairly late on Tuesday, and he gave me a report right off the top of his head, and between that and his website I was able to put together a market for you. It's unbelievable. We don't have federal state market reporters in that market giving us a market report on the biggest fat cattle auction in the nation. 1,850 head for the Tuesday's fat cattle sale in Yankton. The conventional cattle sell mostly from 185 to 187, and for the most part that'd be steady to $2 higher. Program cattle, some drug-free, but mostly non-implanted. And most of the consignments at Stockman's Livestock Market's fat cattle auction are non-implanted. That's the bulk of supply, is non-implanted, not conventional. But those cattle sell from 186 to 190, 175. Pretty good market there. Greg wanted me to remind you he's going to have a big sale here today on Wednesday, 5,300 head. And it's looked like a pretty good mix of calves and yearlings, and of course the quality will be outstanding there in Yankton, South Dakota at Stockman's Livestock Market. They are on DVAuction. You can view and bid that sale. Get a hold of them in the office there at Yankton early if you want to get approved to bid. Talk about your box beef cutout values up big. I mean a big move. Not compared to maybe back during the pandemic and things, but just in normal trading, big move there. Choice cuts were up 351 at 316.83. We were struggling under $3 there just not long ago, guys. Your selects up 299 at 292.09. Your slaughter, they're getting a little more aggressive now this week since they're making some money here. About 245,000 estimated cattle slaughtered through the first 2 days of the week. It's 11,000 more than the previous week and just 5,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Performance Livestock Analytics. Performance Beef through Performance Livestock Analytics is a software that's designed by cattle producers for cattle producers. It simplifies feeding, performance, and health data records. So if you're interested in that, you know that you could do a better job of doing that. This goes from mixing the rations together, sending out bills, sending information to your nutritionists, to your customers. I mean, it just helps simplify all of that, and it's not hard to use. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle auctions. Your real-time index on DVAuction late today on Tuesday, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states and lots of sales. The latest available on Tuesday evening was 248.39. That was down 46 cents. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 249.89. Look at some of your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri had 2,200 through the ring there, another 1,000 through their weekly in-house video they do with help from DVAuction. I'll tell you what, that the success of that is amazing to me. But your market through the ring there had a relief reporter there, Dan Hill, was out of pocket, called the market kind of uneven, but not a whole lot different than last week. The in-house video had some pretty impressive cattle on there, including the Davis partnership cattle there, and those cattle come from Dalton, Arkansas, which is just east of Thayer, Missouri. It's just straight south of West Plains there. But that Steve Anderson puts most of those groups of cattle together that's on the video, Ozarks Regional Stockyard video there, and he does such a good job with that. I think his wife must help him there, but they get those videos edited and everything, get them into DVAuction. It is so seamless the way that at a certain time every Tuesday they just stop running cattle through the ring, turn the scoreboards into to video TVs, crank up the videos and start selling video cattle. But those Davis partnership cattle that they sold out of northern Arkansas there, they had 230 home-raised steers, weaned over 60 days, had all the shots, everything. Look at the quality on them. I mean, this is as good a cattle as you'd find anywhere. They were eating mostly silage and a mix of haylage there. But 230 head of those home-raised steers weigh 680 pounds. Immediate delivery this week brought 277. And then the heifers right off of them, 160 of those to weigh 6 1/4 here later this week at 265. That's very impressive, guys. That's a heck of a way for somebody in the area to market those cattle, keep them right there on the farm. Didn't have to stress them out, bring them into the stockyard, but the local stockyard still got to market the cattle for the people. So that's just a good deal for everybody. Talk about your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day. It was Philip the Giant. Philip Livestock Auction in Philip, South Dakota had around 6,500 for their Tuesday sale, and really impressive, especially on light calves, guys. Oh my gosh. Look at this automated marker report, and you see it was mostly light calves, but they had 1,016 head of 4-weight steers. All those averaged 450 pounds with a weighted average price of $351.76. Wow. 2,144 head of 5-weight steers in Philip averaged 553 pounds with a weighted average price on all those of $313.03. I had 1,000 6-weight steers there. They averaged 628 at $295.80. All those would be very impressive quotes, guys. Look at a couple weight groups of heifers. How about 545 head of 4-weight heifers, average 451 at $311.65. And you noticed on some of these better strings and some of these premier sales up in the northern plains, there's significantly less heifers than they are steers. I don't think we've seen any heifer retention to speak of up till now. We're starting to see them keep some back now. We'll see whether they end up keeping those back for replacements or if they show up to the sale as yearlings down the road like they did last year. But a little bit bigger heifers, 1,044 head of 5-weight heifer calves, average 544 at 287.57. Give you several individual quotes from all around. How about Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota? 52 steer calves weighed 503. 503 now at 341. Very impressive. How about the Flint Hills Stockyards in St. Mary's, Kansas, formerly Rezac Livestock Commission? New ownership going right on there and doing a really good job. They sell 121 yearling feeder steers weighed 841 at 256.60. How about out east? Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington, Kentucky. That's the flagship location, that fancy facility that they haven't been in for too many years. 61 steers weighed 807 in Lexington, Kentucky, and bring 255.75. Wow. How about individual quote from our National Beef Wire Stickout Sale of the Day in Phillip Livestock Auction, Phillip, South Dakota? They sell 101 steer calves that weighed 410 and bring 394. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day come out of Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. It was 87 lightweight little short yearlings there weighed 673 steers, and they bring 298. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.